Namaste. Today we are going to discuss a few more incidents in mother's life. I would especially like to focus in the beginning on mother's sadhana while she was at Dakshineshwar. This is one part of her life which is very beautiful, which I really relish meditating upon. You can visualize the young Ma Sarada sitting on the western veranda of the Nahabat in Dakshineshwar, and very early in the mornings, she would get up at 3 o'clock. She would sit there absorbed in spiritual practice, and she would get so absorbed that many times she attained the state of samadhi while she was there. Usually, when she would sit on the western veranda, she would do a lot of japa, take the name of the Lord, and then after some time she would hear the footsteps of the master going to the pine grove. So you can imagine that this ambience, very many moonlit nights, you can visualize mother sitting there in complete stillness, in complete absorption. And this is how her inner life unfolded. Mother's life is a very beautiful combination of both contemplation and great activity. So she is the living demonstration of what Vivekananda used to speak of. And these contemplative hours in mother's life, they throw so much light on her inner life. See, she was the Devi, she was the goddess herself. And yet she is showing us how important spiritual practice is. So there are very many incidents connected with these days. You see, when mother was very young, she was just 18, 19, 20, and she was in Dakshineshwar. Once it so happened that when she was sitting in the veranda very early in the morning, she heard the melodious tune of a flute. Somebody was playing the flute at a far distance, and the sonorous melody, it just put mother into the state of samadhi. Once it so happened that a maid called Brinda, who used to work there, she showed a brass plate in front of mother during these periods. And the sound actually penetrated into mother's heart because she was in such a concentrated state. And mother shrieked out in pain. So you can imagine the level of her mind, these hours of absorption, these hours of total union with God. See, these are the things which matter most in a sadhak's life, isn't it? These are the periods when you are really yourself, because you are divested of all that you are not. You are not truly that. You are divested of all of that. You are divested of all assumptions and presumptions about yourself. You are in deep union with the chosen ideal, and that is why these moments are so very important to capture in these great lives. So this is how mother spent her days in Dakshineshwar. Till late in the morning, till it dawned, she would be quite absorbed in her spiritual practice, after which she would start serving the master. You know very well, she cooked and served the master and his devotees for long hours. But she was very particular about her spiritual practice. Again, when it was time for the evening aarti, dusk time, mother would be wrapped in meditation and prayer. Many times at night, again, she would sit in that small octagonal room, which those of you who have visited Dakshineshwar, you must have seen that room. It takes so much to adjust in such a small space and with so many things around you, and at the same time lead such a concentrated life. So you find all these wonderful examples in mother's life. And there is a lot we can say about mother's life of sadhana. Many times, Yogin Ma found mother in the state of ecstasy, alternately laughing and weeping. She found mother even later on. She found mother in a state of deep absorption, samadhi-like state, many times. So you see, mother's natural state of mind was like this. And that is why you find the unfolding of such a beautiful, inspiring life. Around this time, another incident occurred which which was, I think, around 1877. This is the incident when mother actually met a robber, a highwayman. So there are a lot of things we can learn from these incidents. That is why I'm covering a few of these incidents in this series. So in this incident, mother actually was traveling from Jairambati to Dakshineshwar because the master's mother, Chandramani Devi, was not well, and mother was traveling back to Dakshineshwar. So she was accompanied by the master's niece and nephew and of two other ladies, and mother was very young at that time. So it so happened that as she was coming to a place called Arambagh, she felt very tired. And these companions actually, they went ahead. They were far ahead after some time. And then at Arambagh, they decided that they would cross the fields of Telo and Bhelo, which are actually fields infested with robbers and highwaymen. So they decided to cross it before the sun sets. And they looked behind and saw that mother was very tired. But still she encouraged them. She said, yes, let's try. Let's continue. And then slowly they saw that they were far ahead and she was left behind. So they waited one or two times, but then mother said, I will come as far as I can, you please go ahead. So they just moved ahead, and mother slowly, for some reason she was very tired on that day, she slowly was walking along and she saw that the sun started setting. So then her heart was filled with fear that what if some robber turns up. After a few minutes, she indeed saw a tall, fierce-looking man moving towards her. So then mother felt a pang of fear in her heart. And then immediately she stood still. And then, you see, look at her responses to a situation like this. She immediately addressed the man who had come quite close to her by that time. She said, Father, I am your daughter Sarada. I am going to your son-in-law's place, but I seem to have lost my way. My companions have gone ahead. It is so good that you arrived at this moment of time so that I will be able to safely reach my place of destination, which was actually the next spot, Tarkeshwar. So as she was saying this, she noticed that another companion of this man was coming behind, and she was a lady. So then mother went and she told the same thing to the lady also. Mother, I'm your daughter Sarada, and I'm on my way to Dakshineshwar, and I seem to have lost my way. So it is good that you and father are here. Now I can safely cross through these fields. Now these two were actually a robber couple, highwaymen, but their hearts melted looking at the innocent, sweet bhav and the divinity that mother radiated. All these melted their hearts, and they actually protected her like a daughter all through the way, They actually made her rest in the Telo Bhelo village itself in a small inn there. They took a room. And then after Sarada had rested in the morning, they escorted her to Tarkeshwar. There, when she met her companions, she introduced them to her parents, her adopted parents. And then all of them, actually the highwayman's wife, the lady, she told him that please get something to cook and I will feed my daughter. And so they all cooked, had their meal, and then they proceeded further. And they got so attached during this incident that they actually wept when they had to leave Sarada. So now this is an amazing incident because you can see what caused this bond between them. And mother, when she was departing, she even said, please visit me in Dakshineshwar. And her adopted father did visit her many times in Dakshineshwar. So this Bhagadi couple, how did they get attached to mother? Later on, once mother herself asked them that why do you show so much love and kindness to me? And they said, Mother, we have seen divinity in you. We have seen Mother Kali in you. And actually, mother radiated this bhav. See, here there are certain very important things for us to understand. In all the different situations of life, it is so important to maintain our inner composure. it is so important to radiate the right bhav. This is so very important in any relationship, in any context. If the inner bhav is very steady, very pure, you actually change the circumstances around you. So through this incident in mother's life, we get a kind of insight into how we can actually deal with situations like this. So this is a very beautiful incident from which we can learn a lot. The inner bhav matters a lot in handling external situations. The inner attitude, the inner development. See, that is why it is so very important to regulate life in all ways so as to manifest a sattvic bhav. This goes a long way in the manifestation of character and in getting us the good things of life, isn't it? So we can learn all of this from mother's life. Sri Ramakrishna in so many ways has expressed mother's divinity. She was his first disciple and he understood her best, and he used to say, Tini ki jeshe tini amar shakti. Is she of the ordinary kind? She is verily my Shakti. She is Saraswati who has come to bestow knowledge on men. In all these words, he used to describe mother's real nature. Once he told Hriday, who was his nephew, sometimes Hriday would treat mother rudely, and he warned Hriday. He said, see, if you insult the one who is residing in this, you may still get away with it. But if you insult the one who dwells in her, even Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara cannot save you. So these are Sri Ramakrishna's own words. Let us remember. There is another incident which shows mother's inner strength, courage, resilience. This took place sometime around 1889-90. So this is the incident of a devotee who would come to Sri Ramakrishna. His name was Harish. And this person was very devoted, but his wife fed him with some medicines and because of his indifference to worldly life. And it deranged his brain. So in this state, once Harish arrived at Kamarpukur. Mother was in Kamarpukur at that time after the master's passing. And mother actually found Harish in that state. So one day she was returning from a neighbor's house, and it so happened that Harish was there, and in that deranged state of mind he actually pursued her. And mother did not know where to go. There was nobody in the house. And mother actually circulated the granary many times in trying to escape Harish. And then she herself says she took up her real form, which is the form of Bagala. Bagala Murti is a fierce form of Mother Durga. So mother actually felled Harish and put her knee on his chest, drew out his tongue and slapped him many times. And then she says he started gasping for breath and her fingers became red. So just imagine the gentle mother took this form in order to teach. She takes these forms to teach the asuras a lesson, isn't it? So this aspect of mother also is there. This was her Bagala Murti. Then later on, of course, the disciples of the master were informed and they came, and Harish also left for Vrindavan, and then later on he could overcome his mental problem. But whatever it is, mother could be so fearless and courageous whenever required. You see these aspects of mother as beautifully described in the Chandi. Saumya Saumya Tara Shesha Saumya Bhaspati Sundari Para Paranam Parama Tvameva Parameshwari. She has both these aspects. She is Saumya Murti. She is the very beautiful, mild one, and yet at the same time she can be fierce and she can instill fear in the hearts of asuras. So these aspects of mother, really when we read these incidents, we can see how much is there to learn from mother's life, how much we can draw. The modern woman It is so very important to get inspired by elevating lives like these, which teach us so many lessons. Then I would like to point out that Vivekananda himself, you see, both Thakur and Swamiji could catch a glimpse of mother's real nature. That is why when Vivekananda would travel to do his pranams to mother in Kolkata, he would travel by boat and he would sprinkle Ganga water repeatedly on his person. He would say, I'm going to meet the mother, I must purify myself. So, all of them had an insight into mother's real nature. Vivekananda has said many wonderful things about mother. He used to say, I'm a little bigoted when it comes to mother because mother's blessings are paramount to me. If mother merely wills, she can do anything. He would say to his brother disciples, none of you have understood the significance of mother's life, but gradually you will know. Without Shakti, there is no revival for this world. And mother has been born to revive that wonderful Shakti in India. And with her as the center, once more will Gargis and Maitreys come out of this culture. So in so many ways, he has brought home to us the real nature of mother. Once a disciple asked Holy Mother, Mother, after you, who will worship deities like Shitala and Manasa? These are the local deities which are worshipped in Indian villages. So Mother said, why, they are also aspects of me. See, spontaneously she would say such things. That is why we look upon Mother Sarada as Sarva Deva Devi Swarupini. She is the very embodiment of all gods and goddesses. She has shown aspects of all gods and goddesses in her life. When Swami Vijnananandji started initiating disciples, he would always give them the mantra of Sri Ramakrishna and he would describe Sri Ramakrishna's Leela, a divine play, to them. One day Sri Ramakrishna himself appeared in a dream and told Swami Vijnanananda, why don't you give her name, mother's name? And why don't you describe her glory to the devotees? The key to liberation lies in her hands. So from then on, Swami Vijnananandji started giving mother's name also. So Sri Ramakrishna himself acquainted his disciples with the glory of mother. Mother herself was very shy and preferred to remain in the background. But Sri Ramakrishna in so many ways has described the glory of her divine nature. Towards the end of his life, in fact, Sri Ramakrishna once told Mother, look, you will have to do many things. Mother once said, what can I do? I am a woman. And the master said, no, you will have to do many things. Once again, in another context, he told her, look, the people of Calcutta, they are squirming in darkness like worms. You must bring light to them. This is not my burden alone. You will have to share it equally. In fact, Sri Ramakrishna once drew the different chakras and explained to Mother their significance. He gave her 8 mantras for initiation because he knew the great spiritual role she would be playing in the future. He even told her, those who take refuge in you, I will be there during their last moments. So Sri Ramakrishna himself trained Mother to be the spiritual teacher of humankind and to take up the spiritual ministry after him. So like this, there are very many incidents in Mother's life which throw light on her divine inner nature. We will continue the last part of this series. Let us stop this video here. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.